All right, what's up? This is Tom Payne, your favorite leftist special education teacher and shit poster on Twitter. Anyways, so I'm watching the best podcast in the world. It's Well, There's a Problem, and this latest episode has got a bunch of questions about schools in Appalachia. Apparently, that's how I pronounce it. So hopefully, I got that right. And I just wanted to say a few points to answer some of these questions that were raised during the podcast. The guest there was Sarah Rupp, and she had posted a bunch of questions on her slides on the podcast, and her experiences as a recess aide or as a daycare counselor. Yeah, that shit is super common, and it's not just Appalachia; it's all over the area. Obviously, I'm a Philly dude, so my understanding comes from Philadelphia perspective and how Pennsylvania runs its schools, but this is pretty applicable to nationwide based on how our school systems are set up on a property tax basis. All right, so I want to take a look at some of these questions and go through them, and maybe I can give you guys the educator's perspective and not like some fucking chud educator, but like a fucking communist. All right, so on the first question, it says, why do some schools have racetracks around their playground and others have three sittings and a Flintstone blacktop? An example, apocalyptic destitution. Well, let's let's take a look at this kind of stuff. This is almost entirely based on the resources that the school district has. And the school district resources, the bulk of funding for school districts come from property taxes. So how much money the local school district is able to raise in taxes. Now, some places the school district actually charge property taxes. Other places it might be more um, based on what the county does or the state. It's fucking federalism to the nth degree. But the real purpose of this is uh, it has originated in white flight, right? So you have some fucking racist ass piece of shit school district full of white people who are afraid of their kids being near anyone who's brown. And they decide, oh shit, we got to fucking get out of here, and we go to the suburbs. Oh, conveniently, there's a GI Bill. This is like post World War II era, and oh, we're gonna form our own school district. Or you'll see places like some where what was previously a city becomes like balkanized, and you have the outer ring suburbs. They break away from the city because the city's where all the people of color live, and they form their own enclaves that are white only. Then this follows the whole Brown versus Board education, and where there's a federal legal mandate that you cannot have segregation anymore. So this is a way I get around segregation. So yeah, it's the United States. What is it? Fucking racism. So the people who lived in the cities, they want the people who live in the cities, right? They're poor. The people who can't leave, they're POC, the working class, the proletariat. And the people who moved to the suburbs who could afford it, either because they had a GI Bill after World War II, they're petit bourgeois, some form of ability to move. They didn't want to fund the schools of people who were different color than them, so they initiate these property taxes for education. Um, so my little rich bourgeois enclave doesn't have to fucking pay for any poor black kids, in the city, or any poor kids in the city either, because they didn't give a fuck about white people that much more either. Um, so why would some schools have a nice playground, have really good facilities, and why do some schools have absolute shit? Property taxes. And in the episode, um, Sarah was saying how, you know, well, it wasn't just Sarah, but like the host was saying, like how a lot of these businesses have like property tax exemptions, stuff like that. You have the United States military on the base. I guarantee a military base ain't paying fucking property taxes to the goddamn school district. So you have an overburdened school district, um, and what the fuck are they going to do? They're legally mandated to provide education, right? there's an aspect of, oh shit, we got to do something or else we're going to get sued and we can't afford it. But there's also the aspect of, you know, well, fuck, like if we got to join up with a neighboring school district and share money, like they don't want to share money. Um, Another aspect of this is like there have been calls to like remediate this where you get a cap, like, oh yeah, your school district can only be funded to so many dollars per student, and the rest is to go back to the state into a pool that's distributed back to the poor school districts. Try and create some form of equity. Well, you know, wherever this goes, if there's a state legislature that's like a shade conservative, which is most of them, right? This doesn't fucking happen. There are places in Texas where it's actually illegal to do that. They passed. I'm not sure if it's a law or constitutional amendment in Texas that this form of remediation, reimbursement of funds, redistribution of wealth, is fucking illegal. Um, so you got that going on. All right. So, and the next question was, why do the fucking admins, the principals, make 9 times more than the school aides and special education aides? Oh man, this is such a fucking thing that makes me mad. You know, I, I mean, obviously there's the class component. You've got the people who are principals, they're the managers, right? They might still be getting a wage. And a good principal, they work hard. Admins do, the good admins do work hard, and they don't get off for the summers. Usually, they're dealing with a lot of bullshit. I have empathy. I understand, but a lot of these people are fucking idiots, and they get their jobs through connections, and they don't really understand what's going on. They've been out of the classroom for 20 years. Why are they paid this much? Well, shit, why is any fucking manager paid? You know, they're paid to keep the fucking, the workers in line. But, again, it's like a class signifier. What do you need to do to become principal? I don't know about fucking West Virginia or whatever, but I know that in Pennsylvania, you need to have extra certifications on top of like having been a teacher, top of having this experience. Usually requires a master's degree or an ed.d. So you got to be able to fund that education, and that shit ain't cheap if you're getting into student loans, and that those student loans don't go away. So it's a class gateway. So why are they getting paid, right? It's that principle of yeah, someone's got to manage the workers. God forbid that the fucking teachers just ran the school themselves, in concert with the local community. That would be communism. That would be horrible. So the other thing is like AIDS, and I'm special ed. Like, man, aides get paid dog shit money for what they do. They do as much work as the teacher. So me as the teacher, again, this is another example of class gateway kind of shit, right? Like I'm managing the aides. Well, I got a fucking master's degree. I got fucking teaching, a couple teaching certs, right? I also got a shitload of fucking student debt. But like because I went to school, somehow I'm qualified, right, to get paid more. Now, what do I have that the aides don't? Well, I mean, I have a better theoretical understanding of pedagogy. I got, more, framework and understanding and theory about how, people with different disabilities work. I got some regular education certs, right? I've got education, right? But the aides, they carry out a lot of shit, and a lot of times, you know, man, you're paying these people like $12 a fucking hour to get beat up, like talking about special ed, like getting beat up bit, because you have children with a lot of needs, man, and you know, there's just so much structural issues here, man. I could go on this for hours. Uh, at some point, I probably will because I just it just ball up inside, right? But we don't value the aides because they don't have a fucking college education, because they do the frontline work, even though it's hands-on labor. They're still selling their labor. They're still just as important in educating these goddamn kids and helping them, do something. But, going back to special ed in general, there's no fucking funding for it, right? There's the federal, like when these, especially goes to the fucking Supreme Court, right? You know, what do they define all these standards of special education? And it's like, all right, we know that you can't spend all the money on your school district on special ed kids because that would bankrupt you, right? This is the court talking to the school district. But you got to give them a fair and appropriate education. What the fuck does appropriate mean? Well, we're not teachers. We're not going to define that here at the Supreme Court. We're going to have you guys define it. And there've been several court cases kind of narrowing that down, what the fuck appropriate is. There's got to be, you got to be making some progress, right? There has to be some educational attainment happening. There has to be some measurement that, hey, holy shit, like this child with a disability, is being given services that are actually improving them in some way. But there just has to be some improvement. There doesn't have to be like achieving their potential, because special ed is just a microcosm of this of our capitalist society, which only views the utility of people in their value. Um, I'm sorry. Value of people are related to their utility to be productive workers, right? That's why fucking during COVID, all these goddamn school districts that had buddies in the school districts were buddies with the Chamber of Commerce fucks, and they're trying to keep schools open because these goddamn businesses, oh shit, we need these workers. We can't pay for, our workers don't have their free daycare, right? Which is a school, right? And you see that this is ticking the boxes, bare minimum mentality, and it's structural in so many ways. Like, I don't blame the school, random school administrator. I don't blame them for being like, fuck, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I know I need to have these kids in daycare. I got to get someone in. Like, I can't let them on the street. Like I got to do something, right? But we're leaving it on these individual school districts to do these things, right? These underfunded school districts who may have very well-intended admins, might, no guarantee, right? To do this. So why are aides and paid 9 times less than the fucking admins? Because our system values people who can extract labor from others, right? It's a replication of the relationship to the means of production, right? It's that same relationship reproduced on the educational level, right? Despite the fact that everyone in this school, right, has a different relationship to means of production than like a factory worker would. It's more nebulous, but it's still related to the same, where the school district is the owner of the means of production. And who owns the school district? The local town. Who funds it? The property taxes. But who actually has fucking say? The bourgeois in that community has the say. So it's a replication. And then we're not even getting to the fact that like, this is typically women's work is considered education. Like, as a dude, I treat it differently, education, because of my fucking male privilege. Like, it is incredibly obvious how we do not value the contribution of women to society, because most teachers are women, most teachers' aides are women, and they get paid less because of the same reasons that women are paid less outside of school. But it's just far more evident. All right, so, geez, we're on the fucking third question. Why are no sidewalks or crosswalks to get to the schools? Well, shit, man. Like, obviously, in a city, that's a little different. But fucking in the burbs, man, what the fuck is a sidewalk? That lets people walk around your neighborhood. They might be undesirable. They might be threatening. They might be trying to, steal, I don't know, whatever boomer fucking shit you got in your house, like your cornhole set with your fake family crest that you found on goddamn Google. Your name's like, you know, hey, what's up, guys? I'm Tommy Tomazeski. Yeah, you can tell I'm Irish. I love to drink. Yeah, like these fucking morons, in Bucks County, and they get like their family crest. They go Google, oh, it was the Tomazeski family crest, and they ignore the part where it says you're Polish, and they get some like random town in Ireland that's got Tom in the name, and oh yeah, we're oh, I said our family goes just back to the fucking Emerald Oil. Anyway, sorry about that. I'm just fucking mad. All right. Yeah, why would you fucking build sidewalks, crosswalks? You know, Rosniak and Liam and Alex are probably better on this shit because that's like infrastructure stuff, and I'm only like, I just like a nerd like that. I'm a fan of that, but I'm not an expert. Why don't you have sidewalks? I'm assuming it's because fuck walking, right? Cars is the only fucking thing that matters. Cars is love. Cars is life. You know, it's fucking ridiculous to see the size of these goddamn parking lots for schools. You know, at least they got buses. But you know, just watching parents drop off their fucking kids like and block traffic for like 2 goddamn miles because I have to take little Jimmy to class. He can't ride the bus. There might be them on there. All right. Anyway, so I mean that's the answer to that one. If you want someone who's more expert, got more expertise, you ask them. But that's my answer. All right. So for question four, it's why are uh, playgrounds inaccessible or dangerous for disabled students? Huh, well, I mean, fuck. Why would you make things? Why would you be accommodating? They this kind of shit. I mean, Pennsylvania, they're pretty like serious about this stuff. Like first off, that's ADA. Second, that's IDEA. Like, there's two federal laws right fucking there. They should be accessible. Some of the better schools that I've done time in, they would actually have like a swing where you could hook up a wheelchair to it. That's not common, but like that's cool. It's cool as fuck. You got a kid who can't walk or whatever, and putting them in the swing, picking them up might be dangerous or hurt or but they get have fun anyway. That's awesome. Um, but most places don't give a shit. Like special ed is an afterthought. Accessibility is an afterthought. Remember, the whole mindset. You got to get yourself in this mindset that these schools are designed to make employees. That's all they're designed for. They're not designed to like better you or make you like the best person you can be. They're designed to make you literate and numerate and to be able to fucking uh, go to giant job creators like Cisco truck fueled restaurant, like, fake Italian. Is my Italian style family restaurant. Yeah. What makes it family style is I pretend that my staff are family, and I sexually harass the teenage girls that work there and steal the tips. That's what this kind of like bullshit, like the boredom, the nonsense. This is what the schools are designed around, like the project that you'll hear called the Prussian model education. Like that's what it's fucking designed to do. And special education is one of the few instances where you're like, you know what? We need to design education around the individual, right? And that's expensive, and it's an afterthought in most places. It just they don't give a shit because the people who run the fucking schools, like, why the fuck am I gonna, we're gonna put, 20 grand in for a goddamn, accessible playground, when I could spend that money for new uniforms for a football team, you know, and I'm gonna sponsor the team, and hey, it's gonna make our town look good. Like it's that kind of fucking shit. Like, oh, my buddy owns a screen printing place. It's all fucking connected to the goddamn system that we have. It's entirely so we don't value people with disabilities in this country. We don't because we only value people about how much money they have and how much utility that they have to those who have money. And you know, like I said, some places are better than this. It requires a fucking federal law. I encourage, if you know that the school ground isn't fucking accessible, that you goddamn write to the ADA. I don't know. Maybe Biden administrator will do something. I have 1% more hope that the Biden admin, ADA compliance, whatever the fuck it is, will respond than the Trump, which would be, it's 1% over zero, right? It's not much. All right. We got the penultimate fucking question here. Why do parents have to pay for after school programs, and what happens to kids whose parents are working but can't afford the after school programs? Oh shit, man! Like this is something else I could go on for a fucking hour about. Um, well, it's close to school don't have enough fucking money. You know, not every school district has you like paid to be in after school programs or whatever. But you know, again, it's another sign, right? These things don't affect people with money. They only affect working people. It's a fucking poverty trap. You're trying to get yourself out of poverty, and you got to spend extra fucking money on childcare, right? Like if you want like an after school childcare, or you know, it's like band or fucking sport or some shit, so that you can have, you know, hey, I ain't don't work till 5, you know, and you know, I got to have little Jimmy in something because he's gonna, you know, do, you know, kids are dumb, so they're gonna, you know, if I leave him home by himself, well, I'm gonna go to jail. He's gonna stick his fork into the goddamn power outlet. Like, you know, kids are always trying to kill themselves until they're like 25. You know, that's my assumption. You know, that's my experience. Education is that every person 25 and younger, before your brain solidifies, you're trying to kill yourself, and it's the older people are trying to stop you from killing yourself. And you know, we have made it like you can't just leave like younger kids alone. I mean, that's also why like high school ends earlier than middle school, ends earlier than elementary school, despite the fact that evidence shows that teenagers should actually be allowed to sleep in and should be flipped. But that would throw the whole fucking wrench in the works when it comes to, you know, the older kids taking care of the younger kids. All right, I digress. Um, you know, this it's just another example of underfunding school districts, funding school districts through this property tax model, this district model, rather than some sort of equitable, you know, citizen controlled, you know, and controlled by citizens, not based on wealth, but just like based on, I get, we don't fucking live in a goddamn, you know, DOTP, dictatorship of proletariat, for those who don't know. Um, all right. What happens to kids whose parents are working but can't afford the after school program? Well, shit, the parents either got to pay for it after school, you got to have a grandparent do it, maybe you have an older sibling, right? Or you just don't work as much. Like that's what happens. Or you can't afford like, you know, sports, so your kid doesn't get, you know, the, you know, fitness and shit. They're home, they're in like some fucking daycare watching a goddamn movie or and eating like snacks. Like they're not like everyone should be like in a sport if they're able to, right? Like physical activity like is something that makes humans happy, and it's like, so this is like scientifically accurate. Like it doesn't matter what form it is, we got to do something. It could be hiking, it could be weightlifting, it could be playing baseball. Probably shouldn't be football because that's a CTE generator. Um, but you should be doing something. And you know, wealthy kids, like their families can afford to send them to, you know, travel teams and like get all these, you know, extra things. And if the school doesn't have a program, it's not a big deal, right? We can hire somebody. Um, but for the kids who don't have the money, I mean, fuck. You look at Philly news during the goddamn pandemic. They're talking about like all these kids running around and doing dumb shit because they're unsupervised, and they're blaming the teachers union because the teachers union's like, fuck this, I'm not getting COVID. I mean, me personally, I'm working in Philly school district. Fucking got COVID from my classroom, right? So I don't blame the goddamn Philly school district's teachers, you know, for saying no, fuck you, we're not coming to work. You figure, but what about the kids? Well, what about the kids? Why aren't you thinking about the kids? You know, pointing the finger at the structure, right? So it's just again like this other aspect of our irredeemable system, right? The the sorry, I'm just a little upset. Um, you know what happens to those kids? That's what they call the school to prison pipeline, man. They get a bad time at school, or school doesn't work for them, or just school prepares you for what is going to be in fucking prison. Like that's what it ends up being, you know? Um, fuck. I could go like way longer on this, but I'm gonna just stop there. This gets me upset. All right. All right. So why is recess the same like length as the standard work break? That's like a school thing. Like that's some schools have long recess, some don't. Good schools have longer recess because it's very fucking important that kids get playtime. It's for socializing, for health, right? Multitude of reasons, multitude of scientific evidence that shows, hey, fucking a good, well structured recess, but even unstructured time, because the kids need unstructured time too to socialize, like to figure out like what is and isn't appropriate and learn problem solving. So you can't have just like teachers like hovering over them. That's not considered appropriate. But like a structure in the sense that like it's safe, it's scheduled, it's regular, and um, the a school that's just doing like a 20-minute smoke break length thing. I mean, what the fuck is that shit? Like that is like walking the yard in jail, or like you know getting that smoke break at work. You know, you know, teachers need time too. I fucking love. I'll tell you this is a secret as a teacher. I fucking hate recess. That's why I don't like teaching younger kids, and I fucking hate lunch duty. Kids are loud and like I like kids, but not in that context. And you know, teachers need time to do like grading and lesson planning, especially if they're special ed. The paperwork loads even more. It's like all this special ed data and stuff you got to collect. Um, and parent communication, stuff like that. Professional development time. And if you're only having like a short recess break, I mean, that's not standard. That's not right. That to me sounds like a principal that's a fucking idiot, which isn't a surprise, right? Because most principals are fucking idiots. There are good ones out there. No, no, love to you. A good principal is worth a lot, right? Especially one that realizes, kind of understands they're supposed to be a servant of the teachers, right? Not a someone to bring their hammer down. Um, but yeah, like a 20-minute recess. I mean, that's shit. 20 minutes is how much time it takes to line up to go out to recess and get the kids back because kids are disorganized and running around and like I said, trying to kill themselves somehow, to get them all accounted for. So that's just that is just a school, either it's the principal or the district policy that or something in the state. I don't know what mandate that is. Pennsylvania, it's not the same. That's just fucking stupid. All right. So just like following up, yeah, I haven't even finished watching the episode yet, just because it made me upset. Um, you know, and you listen to this too. Like, you should be upset about these like inequalities and the way that just capitalism pervades and makes poisonous every aspect of our fucking lives. The you know the entire school system, top to bottom, is just set up in a way to be not only how the classroom is run is set up for capitalism, but just how it's an afterthought. It's been cobbled together over years, and there's been like good like changes, but in a system that is so inequitable, it throws up barriers that don't need to be there. Um, you know, it's I might say this earlier, is a microcosm of our society as a whole. The value is you know how useful you are to an employer, and that goes from who you are at school to who you are, how useful things are, like from a transit perspective or like a city planning perspective, right? Because we all kind of probably came into this the podcast through Do Not Eat and City Skylines and shit. Like they all serve the master of capital. Like it's how is this beneficial to employers? How is this going to raise like money for businesses? This transit line, like it's expensive capital investment, but you know is that going to make my property more valuable? Is that going to make me more money? And no corporation in this country is incentivized to do things over long term, man. It's all fucking short term this quarter. So everything's short side, everything's cobbled on. The protections that are legally supposed to be there frequently aren't enforced because the people who are they're meant to protect are genuinely, they're either poor or they're people of color, or both, and they don't have a say. They're disenfranchised or from parts of the country that don't get any fucking, money, spent. You know, think about Philly, right? Like Philly school district for years did not have control over its own fucking school board because the Republican legislature is, not the Democrats are any fucking better, but and Philly's an example of like a machine city, and why just being a liberal ain't enough, right? You gotta be a leftist, you gotta be socialist, and you gotta have these understandings, like holy shit, the system is irredeemable. Whether you're a fucking cool ass Marxist like me, or if you're slightly less cool but I still love you, anarchist, realize that the structure is fucking irredeemable. But yeah, the Philly school district was not under control. Like these fucking white rich fucks out in the middle of fucking state were like, yeah, we're spending a lot of money in Philly school district because we have to give them subsidies and stuff like that. They're all Title I schools, whatever. So yeah, we're gonna remove the ability of the people of the city. Oh, you don't know enough. You don't know enough to run your own fucking schools. So we're gonna do it for you. Yeah, just absolutely. Like it's like fucking that's the fucking settler colonial mindset right there. You know. So like I said, like some of these might be answered during the rest of the episode. I was just too upset. I had to get my thoughts out there. Um, yeah. So fucking thanks for listening to my fucking rant. Go birds, go Phils. Um, don't trust the process. And yeah, have a fucking good day.